Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Keep Calm and Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little sloth. For this tutorial you're going to need plush yarn in purple, white, brown and tiny bit of black for the nose. I'm going to be working this with a 5.5mm crochet hook. In addition to this you're going to need a pair of scissors, black security eyes, stitch marker, darning needle and some fiber fill. So make sure you've got all of those components. Now before we start, if you enjoy watching my tutorials, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. We're going to start off with the head, and for this let's grab our cream yarn and work a slip knot and chain 2. That's 1, 2. From here we're going to skip our first chain and work 8 single crochets in the second chain from our hook. That's my first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and my final number 8. Now once you have your 8 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches, and once you've done that, this will bring your stitches nice and close together. From here we're going to be working in a spiral. For this you're going to locate your first single crochet of your previous round and slip your hook in there. Pull up a loop to work your first single crochet of round 2. Here's my first single crochet of round 2, going back into that same chain stitch to work second single crochet. Now I've got 2 single crochets in that same stitch. This is called an increase. In this round I'm going to be working 8 increases. Here's my second increase, third increase, fourth increase, fifth increase, sixth, seventh, and my final one, number 8. This should bring your stitch count to 16. Now we're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in the next stitch. As our stitch count is increasing, we're going to use a stitch marker to identify the start of our rounds. We're going to follow this single crochet on with an increase. So 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And here's your combination for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around till you get to this point. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of this round your stitch count should be 24. We're now going to start the next round with 3 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second, stitch marker back in place, third, followed on with an increase. And here's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with an increase. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round your stitch count should be 30. We are now going to snip this yarn off and finish off with this color. And to do this you're going to work a slip stitch in the next stitch. So slip your hook in there, pull up a loop and make this loop go through the loop that was already on your hook. Pull this down to secure it in place. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the color of this sloth, and we're going to connect that on any of the outer stitches. I'm going to simply randomly choose one and pull this through, and let's go ahead and give this a little knot in place to secure it. Slip your hook back into that same stitch, 2, pull up a loop and chain 1, going back in that same stitch to work my first single crochet of this round. We're going to follow this on with another single crochet. So we've got 2 single crochets in a row. We're going to follow that on with an increase in the next stitch and 2 more single crochets after that. And here's your combination for this round. 2 single crochets followed on with an increase, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round your stitch count should be 36. We're now going to start the next round and we're going to start working in a spiral again. So slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round and work a single crochet there. Again, to keep a count of my stitches, I'm going to have a stitch marker. We're going to follow that single crochet on with 4 more. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So once you have your 5 single crochets in a row, you're going to follow this on with an increase. And here's your repeat for this round. 5 single crochets followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 42. We're now going to start the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker back in place, and we're going to follow the single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. To finish one round, you're going to need 42 single crochets in a row. We're going to follow the same method 6 times altogether to have 6 rounds of just single crochet. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of 6 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 42. I'm now going to start the next round with 5 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Once you have your 5 single crochets in a row, you're going to follow this on with a decrease. To work a decrease, you're going to slip your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, do the same with the stitch after that, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. And this works a decrease. And here's your combination for this round. 5 single crochets followed on with a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 36. We're now going to start the next round with 4 single crochets in a row. 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed on with a decrease. Pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And here's your combination for this round. 4 single crochets followed on with a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 30. We're now going to start the next round with 3 single crochets in a row. That's 1, 2, 3, followed on with a decrease. And here's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with a decrease, repeat that all the way around. Now, as you can see, the gap between the stitches is decreasing with each round, so make sure to finish this round, fill this head up with fiber fill, and then come meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 24. We're now going to start the next round with 2 single crochets in a row. Here's 1, 2, stitch marker back in place, and follow this on with a decrease. And here's your combination for this round. 2 single crochets followed on with a decrease, repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 18. Now starting the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch. And we're going to follow this on with a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And here's your combination for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with a decrease, repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 12. We're now going to work our final round to close this gap off, and for this you're going to work 6 decreases in a row. So here's my first one. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. And my final, number 6. And once you finish working your decreases, there might still be a tiny little gap. You can either use a darning needle to stitch this up, or you can slip your hook in the opposite direction, in the opposite stitch where we finished, and pull up a loop from there to work a slip stitch. This can only be done if the gap is quite small, otherwise you will need to use a darning needle. Snip the yarn off, pull it out and pull this down to secure the thread in place. Now slip your hook from further away and make it come out from that same stitch where you've just finished. Yarn over on this bit of yarn onto your hook and pull it into this head. And we're going to pull it out from another side. Let's just do this one more time. So it gets worked in quite far into the body. And once it comes out, we're going to snip this off using a pair of scissors. Give the head a little squeeze and there we go. The head of this sloth is now complete. Now onto the eye patch, and for this we're going to be using this brown color. Let's go ahead and work a slip knot and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here you're going to skip your first chain and work an increase in the second chain from your hook. So slip your hook in there and work 2 single crochets in that same stitch. We're now going to work 3 single crochets in a row. That's 1, 2 and 3, and this should bring us to the last stitch of this row, and here we're going to be working 4 single crochets in the same stitch. So that's my first, back in that same space to work second, third, fourth. Now by working 4 single crochets in the same stitch, it should allow you to turn the corner and start working at the base of these stitches to make an oval. So we're going to be holding this little bit of thread along the top of these stitches to work them in at the same time. Now in the next 3 stitches you're going to work a single crochet. That's 1, 2 and 3. Now in the last stitch that we have here, we're going to work an increase. Slip your hook in there and pull up a loop. Finish by working 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And there we go. This is the eye patch for this sloth. We're going to now find the next stitch or the first single crochet of your previous round, and we're going to slip our hook in there and work a slip stitch to fasten off. Let's go ahead and leave a long tail and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure it in place. We can now go ahead and snip this bit of yarn off as well because that's already been worked in. And there we go. That finishes the eye patch of this sloth. Now onto the arms and legs, and for this we're going to start off with our white yarn or cream yarn, work a slip knot and chain 2. Start round 1 by skipping our first chain and working 8 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and final one, number 8. Once you have your 8 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches, and this should bring your stitches nice and close together. From here you're going to slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round and work a single crochet there. I'm going to be using a stitch marker to identify the start of my rounds. I'm going to follow this on with a single crochet in all of the other stitches as well, so you'll have 8 single crochets in a row. Here's third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and my final one, number 8. And once we have done our round 2, we're going to finish off with this color, and we're going to work a slip stitch in the next stitch to fasten off. Let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and secure this in place by pulling it up or down really. There's a gap still there. I'm going to close that off. And there we go. Now let's turn this the right way around. And we're going to attach this purple color, which is the main color of our sloth. We are going to stitch this into any of these top stitches. So let's pull it through. And we are going to tie a knot in place to secure this. And from here, you're going to slip your hook back into that same stitch, pull up a loop, go back into that same stitch to work first single crochet. That's my first single crochet of this round. I'm going to be working 8 of them all together to finish this round. So we're going to follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. So once you've finished your one round of single crochets, you're going to follow the same method 19 more times. So you have 20 rounds of single crochet all together. So go ahead and work those 20 rounds of single crochet and meet me back here. At the end of 20 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 8. We're now going to close off the gap in between the stitches here. And to do this, you're going to be working 4 single crochets across the top. We're not going to be stuffing the arm up at all. So just leaving it as it is, going to slip our hook into the next stitch and guide it to come out from the stitch at the back. So if I pull it apart, I've made my way through both the front and the back of the stitches. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. That's my first single crochet, and just like this I'm going to be working single crochets across. And here's my final, number 4. Once you've got your 4 single crochets, you're going to chain 1, and let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, leaving a long tail. Pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure it in place. And there we go, that's one of the arms done. You're going to be following the same instructions and making 3 more of these, as we're going to have the same size arms and legs. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. Now onto the body, and for this we're going to grab the main color of this sloth and work a slip knot. Chain 2 to begin. From here you're going to skip your first chain and work 8 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. That's my first single crochet, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and your 8th one. Once you have your 8 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches. And from here you're going to start the next round by working an increase in your first stitch. So that's 2 single crochets in that same stitch, followed on with an increase in every single one of these stitches all the way around. So you should have a total of 8 increases. This is my increase number 4, 5, 6, 7, and my final one, number 8. Once you've worked your 8 increases, your stitch count should be 16. We're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. From here I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of my rounds. Follow this on with an increase. So 2 single crochets in that next stitch. Here's your combination for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round your stitch count should be 24. Now we're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, and we're going to follow this on with 2 more to make the total count to 3. Once you have your 3 single crochets in a row, we're going to follow this on with an increase. And here's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with an increase, repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round your stitch count is 30. Let's start the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch, Stitch marker back in place. We're going to follow the single crochet on with the single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. To finish one round, you're going to need 30 single crochets in a row. Once you've done that, you're going to follow the same method 2 more times to make the total count to 3. Go ahead and work 3 rounds of single crochet and then meet me back here. At the end of 3 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 30. Now I'm going to start the next round by working 9 single crochets in a row. So here's my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Going to follow this on with an increase. So 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And here's your combination. You're going to work this 2 more times to finish this round. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 33. We're now going to start the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch. And we're going to follow this on with 32 more single crochets to make the total count to 33. So we're going to have a whole round of just single crochets. Going to follow the same method 3 times all together to have 3 rounds of single crochet. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of 3 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 33. We're now going to start the next round with 9 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, single crochet number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once we have our 9 single crochets in a row, we're going to follow this on with a decrease. To work a decrease, you're going to slip your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, do the same with the stitch after that, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. And here's your combination for this round. 9 single crochets followed on with a decrease. You should be able to repeat that twice to finish this round. Go ahead and do that and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 30. We're now going to start the next round by working 3 single crochets in a row. Stitch marker back in place. And we're going to follow these 3 single crochets on with a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And here's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with a decrease. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 24. We're now going to start the next round with 2 single crochets in a row. That's 1, 2, followed on with a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And here's your repeat for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with a decrease and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 18. We're now going to finish off with this body by working a slip stitch in your next stitch. Let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, leaving a long tail. Pull it out of this stitch and pull it down to secure it in place. Now we can go ahead and fill this body up with some fibre fill before we sew all of the components together. Now onto the assembly, and we're going to start off by inserting some eyes into the eye patch and stitching the eyes on. Now I've already gone ahead and done one eye, so I'll show you how to do with this one. So we are going to be using 12mm security eyes, and we're going to be inserting this from the opposite end where we finished off our the stitch. So you need to count 2 stitches back. So this is my first chain stitch space, and in the second one is where I want to insert the eye. Let's go ahead and put the backing on. Now from here you can either burn this bit off, or you're going to slip this into the stitches when we are stitching the eye patch on. So I simply just push this into the stitches before I do it, otherwise it will be protruding out. So when we are sewing this eye patch, you're going to position this so that this curvy part of the eye is halfway on the white bit and half on the colored bit, like this. And it's going to be in an angle, positioned in an angle if we look at it from, to keep it straight facing you. That's going to be an angle, and it's going to be half on the white, half on the colored bit. And just to give you better guidance, I'm going to be having the curved part after the first round. So I want to see the first round here, and this one's going to be covering second and third round almost. So from here you're going to grab your thread and slip this into your darning needle, and now we're going to stitch this on by catching one stitch on the head and one stitch on the eye patch. And just simply like this, we're going to make our way all the way around, catching one stitch at a time and sewing the two things together. With one finger, I'm just holding this in place so that doesn't move. There we go. And just like this, make your way all the way around. Last couple of stitches left. And there we go, the eye patch is now on, and we're back where we started. We're going to now secure this thread in place by, let's work this last one. Now we're going to secure this thread in place by catching just a little thread here or a stitch, isolating that. You're going to create a loop with your thread, slip your needle in through the same loop that you've just created and pull this down. This should create a knot in place and it will secure your thread in. Now slip this needle back inside that same stitch where we've just finished, guide it to go through some fibre fill and come out from another part of the head. And from here we can go ahead and snip this yarn off. If it's still visible, give it a little squeeze and that should disappear, or just pick the top part. And there we go, that's one eye on. You're going to follow the same instructions and stitch the other eye on, and then meet me back here. Eyes are now done. We're going to move on to making a nose. So grab some black yarn, thread it into a darning needle, and we're going to create a little button nose around just below the center, around here, 2 stitches wide, and then we're going to have a couple of eyebrows as well. To do the nose, you're going to slip your needle just at the base of this first round right here. Keep 2 stitches in between, and we're going to pull this out, and we're going to repeat the same process 3 times. 1, 2, each time making sure that the threads are sitting side by side and not overlapping, and 3. Once we've done this, okay, we are going to make this needle go back to the starting point, and to do this you're going to give these 2 bits of yarn a little knot in place, and making sure that the knot sits on the side of the nose like this in the corner, so we can pull this in a minute. And this secures your thread in place. Now from here you're going to use your either the same thread to make the eyebrows, or we can redo that process. So I'll actually show you if we were to redo it. So from here I'm going to snip these 2 bits of yarn quite short, and I'm going to grab a hook, slip it from further away off the face and make it come out from that same stitch where we've just sewed the nose. Yarn this over onto your hook and pull these 2 strands in. And once you've done that, this completes the nose of this little sloth. There we go. Now onto the eyebrows, and for this we're going to be using the same black thread, thread it into your darning needle, and we're going to make 2 tiny little eyebrows just on the round where we have changed the color over. So slipping it in for above one eye and keeping it around 2 stitches wide, like this. We're going to keep that nice and short. Give this a little knot in place on the other side, making sure that the knot goes onto the corner, so it's above a stitch, so we can pull it in a minute. And let's go ahead and do that. So once you've done the knot, slip your hook from further away from the face, make it come out from that same stitch, yarn over and pull this one strand in. That was the singular one. Once that's done, you're going to slip your needle back inside the head, keeping the eyebrows symmetrical. Take it out from the other side, and now again we're going to keep about 2 stitches in between and slip this needle back in that same stitch. Make it come out from here. Now I can pull on this too if it goes in too much. And there you go. And that's perfect positioning of this. I'm going to create a little knot in place by slipping my needle just underneath that brow, creating a loop with my thread, slipping my needle inside that loop and pulling it gently so it creates a knot in place in the corner of the brow, like this. Once that's done, I'm going to slip my needle back inside that stitch and make it go through some fiber fill, make it come out from another side of the head. And let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, give it a little squeeze and pull off any strands that might be left. And give the head a little squeeze as well to make it retain its shape. If the eyebrow is too sunken in because we pulled the thread in, you can slip your hook underneath it and loosen it like this, and they both look perfect. And there we go, that's the face of this sloth finished. Moving on to the next bit, which is the body. We're going to attach the head and the body of this sloth together. Now you are going to attach the body so that the head is facing sideways. Now this body is pretty circular, so it doesn't matter where you attach it. And then when we attach the arms, we're going to be doing it right in the front to make the body, the face face the side. So to do this, you're going to make sure that the edge of this body is 3 rounds below where we change the color. So there's purple, 2, 3. So just here, keeping that in center, we're going to first of all catch 1 stitch just so we can secure that little bit, and then we'll make sure that it's all positioned perfectly. So I'm happy with the positioning here. And once you are happy with the positioning, you are going to simply hold that in place and catch 1 stitch on the neck and 1 stitch on the head. Give it a little pull each time, because then the connection between the 2 things will be nice and secure. 1 stitch on the neck and 1 stitch on the head. And just like this, you're going to make your way all the way around. And just like this, go ahead and attach the whole of this neck and the body together and meet me back here. Made my way all the way around. Let's work on this last stitch. And that's it, we've finished. I'm just going to go through that last final stitch one more time. And this time I'm going to create a loop with my thread, slip my needle inside that loop and create a knot in place. And let's do this one more time. Make that come out from another side a little bit further down and isolate a stitch or a thread, create a loop, slip your needle into the loop and pull it down gently to create a knot in place. And once you're satisfied with this, you're going to slip this needle into the head, make it go through some fiber fill and make it come out from another side. Pull this out and we can now go ahead and snip this off. Give the body and the head a little squeeze, and that is the body attached. Now onto the arms and legs. Let's go ahead and thread our darning needle with this bit of yarn, and we're going to be stitching the arms directly in line with the right eye. So right and left eye here. When it's facing you, you're going to be getting the arm and the leg in line with the right eye, right in the front. So when we have stitched all of the arms and the legs, it looks like that this sloth is looking at us on the side. So the face is going to be on the side and the body is going to be in the front like this. So line this arm in line with the eye, and once you've got this, it's going to be one row or one round below where the neckline is. This is the neckline, and this is where the arm is going to be attached. And when we're attaching this, you're going to be stitching this just like the head or any other part of the body. So catch one stitch on the body and then one stitch on the arm, and we're simply going to make our way across like this. And let's make our way through the last stitch as well. And once we have done that, you're going to slip the needle from there, from the end here, make it come out from the base of the arm, and this is where we're going to secure the thread. So pull it out, isolate one of the stitches or the threads like this, and we're going to create a loop in place. Slip your needle inside that loop and pull this down to secure it in place. This will create a knot and the thread is now secure. Slip your needle back inside that same stitch, guide it to go through some fiber fill, come out from another side of the body, pull it out, and we can now go ahead and snip this off. And that's one of the arms done. Now let's give this a little squeeze so it's all back in normal shape, and from here you're going to grab a leg, and we're going to be stitching this in line with the arm, but we're going to keep one round in between. So line this up perfectly in line with the arm, and leaving one round, you're going to go ahead and stitch this from the base all the way up to this point. Now once we've done that, this stitches the arms and legs on this side. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Now when you're doing the other side, what you're going to do is you're going to give body a little squeeze like this, and then you're going to get one arm, get it in line with the front. Let's move it in here. There we go. So perfectly in line with the other arm, and then you know exactly where to stitch this. Then you're going to stitch this in here, and again keeping one row in the middle, you're going to line up the leg with the other leg perfectly, and then you're going to stitch that in place as well. So go ahead, stitch these two arms and legs and this leg in place, and then meet me back here. Arms and legs are now sewed on, and this is what your sloth should look like. Now I'm going to add a couple of final details, and that is going to be some Velcro. So we are going to be using this as a hanging piece where we can put the Velcro on, and we can hang it on to anywhere we like from the arms and legs. So I'm going to be using this sticky Velcro. It comes with a sticky back, so you simply take it off and slip it on top of where you want it to be positioned, and it looks a bit like this. So it's a strip of Velcro that you can snip into size and then stick it on. If you don't have Velcro, you can always use a button, or you can even use some magnets to get this attached on. So I'm going to simply take the backing off and place it on the right place where I would like it to be. So that needs to be on the inside of the arm and on the inside of the leg. So let's get that other one on as well. There we go, press it down, and we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So this is the sticky part. So And let's turn it the other way around, and we're going to again position it just above the hand part of this arm. And there we go. Once you've done that, that finishes the arms and legs. So I can simply go and attach these two, and they will hold it in place perfectly. And we can use it from here to hang it onto anything that we'd like. Now, last and final detail, and that is to add a little bit of hair on top of this sloth's face. To do this, you're going to take a little bit of the same color yarn, and we're going to snip it. So take about 7 to 8 inches. We're going to snip that off, and we're going to grab a hook. Now we're going to take about 4 rounds above where we change the color. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And right in the center, you're going to isolate one single stitch like this. You're going to loop this yarn onto the hook, pull it through, and we're going to pull one bit of it all the way out. So we're going to keep these two lengths exactly the same. Pull that down so it's exactly the same. So first we're going to start off by tying a little knot in place. And then from here we're going to make a bow. And just by doing this like that, we've made a bow on top. You can adjust the size of these strands by pulling or extending this as you wish. And once we've done this, you're going to slip your hook through further away from the head, from that stitch. Make it come out from that same space where we've just tied the knot here. And we're going to take those little end pieces, and we're going to yarn over onto our hook and pull this into the head. So hold on to the loops, and the rest gets pulled into the head. Now I can go ahead from here and snip this yarn off. And there we go. That's a few strands of hair attached onto this sloth's head as well. Now that completes our sloth. I'll zoom out a little bit for you. If you enjoyed making this sloth with me, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.